Spring Security 5. There is no password encoder mapped for the ID null. Introduction. A very common error when using Spring Security 5 is there is no password encoder mapped for the ID null. This usually appears when implementing authentication, storing passwords in database, configuring in-memory users, upgrading from older Spring Security versions. This error is related to how Spring Security handles password encoding. Understanding it is critical for secure authentication, proper password storage, avoiding login failures. What does this error mean? It means Spring Security is trying to validate a password, but it cannot determine which password encoder to use. In simple terms, password stored means no encoder prefix, means Spring cannot decode, means error. Example concept. Login attempt means password checked, means encoder not found. Starting from Spring Security 5, passwords must include an encoding identifier. Example of valid format. BCrypt 2a$.h. Here, BCrypt means encoder ID, 2a$10 means actual encoded password. If password is stored like password 123, Spring Security does not know how to interpret it. Example concept. No prefix means ID equals null means encoder not found. Most common cause. Password stored without encoder prefix. Example. With user password 123 causes error. Example concept. Plain password means missing encoder ID means failure. Fix 1. Use noop for plain text. Quick fix. If you want to use plain text, not recommended for production, with user, password, noop, password 123, roles, user. Example concept. Noop means no encoding means works for testing. Fix 2. Use BCrypt password encoder. Recommended. Step 1. Define bean. Import org spring framework.context.annotation bean. Import org spring framework.security.crypto.bcrypt password encoder. Bean. Public BCrypt password encoder. Return new BCrypt password encoder. Step 2. Encode password. String encoded password equals password encoder. Encode password 123. Example output. BCrypt $2a $10 ABC. Step 3. Store encoded password. Password encoded password. Example concept. Encoded password means includes BCrypt, means authentication works. Fix 3. Use delegating password encoder, default. Spring Security uses PasswordEncoder equals PasswordEncoder factories.create delegating password encoder. This supports multiple encoders. BCrypt, noop, PBKDF2, script. Example concept. Delegating encoder means supports multiple formats. Example configuration. @bean public password encoder. Return password encoder factories.create delegating password encoder. Example stored passwords format. Meaning BCrypt, noop password, plain text, PBKDF2. Example concept. Prefix means tells Spring which encoder to use. Real-world example problem. With user admin, password, admin 123. Error, there is no password encoder mapped for the ID null. Fix, with user admin, password, nope admin 123. Or, password encoder, encode, admin 123. Example concept. Add prefix or encode means problem solved. Why Spring Security changed this? Older versions allowed plain text passwords. Spring Security 5 enforces encoding for better security, safer defaults, preventing insecure apps. Example concept. Security first design means encoding mandatory common mistakes. 1. Missing BCrypt or noop. 2. Storing plain text passwords. 3. Not defining password encoder bean. 4. Mixing encoded and plain passwords. 5. Copying old tutorials. Pre-Spring Security 5. Best practices. Best practices include Always use BCrypt password encoder. Never store plain text passwords. Use noop only for testing. Define a password encoder bean. Encode passwords before saving. Use delegating password encoder. Example concept. Secure password handling means safe authentication advantages. Advantages include stronger security protection against attacks, standardized password handling, flexibility with multiple encoders. Challenges. Challenges include migration from old versions, understanding encoder prefixes, debugging authentication errors, managing encoded passwords. Concepts learned. By learning this topic, you understand why Spring Security requires password encoding, what BCrypt and noop mean, how to configure password encoder, how to fix authentication errors, how secure password storage works. Simple definition. No password encoder mapped for ID null. An error that occurs when Spring Security cannot determine which password encoder to use because the stored password lacks an encoding identifier. Final summary. The error, there is no password encoder mapped for the ID null, happens because Spring Security expects passwords to include an encoder prefix like BCrypt or noop. To fix, use noop for testing or use BCrypt password encoder. Recommended. Example, password noop password. Password encoder encode password. Spring Security 5 enforces secure password handling, so always use proper encoding in real applications.